They know I got them vibes, so you know them fans watching me.
They in my chat with the shit. Oh, they must think they can stop me. See, we got runs on the scope. Now don't get sniped out the lobby.
TV is not on me. Now tell me, what do you see?
We send them out to the nation. LIB in our blood. We in the sky with this shit. Just think it came out
See, it's 99% cap, 1% gameplay, 100% vibe. Don't bring that bullshit my way. Try your luck, go against the vibe. Where you fuck, you gon' think on my grave with the way I make them tighten up. You'll be lucky if you even score. You should read more, though I choose to live in peace. You should know I bleed war. I'm a recon man, one of the best in the sport. I keep a drone on my hip, I let it out to explore. They say the ops on the way. I see one, I know it's more. They just ran inside a building, my EMP on the floor. Make them panic, play support. Crypto going manic, they trying to figure out how I do assault damage. Real just march the surroundings, I know they can't stand it. Murasky sending out his ghost and they don't understand it. I'm headed to the high grounds to get an overstanding. Now you from a distance, see your partner, they done left you stranded. Damn, you know you headed to the lobby, right? Sorry for your awful fight, I admit it was easy. Get you some practice or you always die. I know you doing that ping thing, they gone, made it out of sniper range. Level 1 knockdown shield, been 7 minutes in the fucking game, I'm devoted. Hit you with the devotion, hear it wind up, quick motion. Now I'm headed with the wind to your partners, but I'm focused. See, Goat just hit that beast on the hunt. Ghosts, we reloaded, blow the EMP and we done.
They know I got them vibes, so you know them fans watching me.
They in my chat with the shit. Oh, they must think they can stop me. See, we got runs on the scope. Now don't get sniped out the lobby.
TV is not on me. Now tell me, what do you see?
We send them out to the nation. LIB in our blood. We in the sky with this shit. Just think it came out the mud.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
B Walker with a do player. Q, Kentrell, Big Jeff. If y'all watching on Facebook, hit that like, share, follow, comment, tap in with the daily content. If you're watching on the Purple, Amazon Prime, once a month, free to use. If you don't use it on me, use it on another content creator. It is free to use. If you tapped in on YouTube, hit that like, comment, share. Tap in for the daily
Let me
Shop
teach
Talk.
you how to vibe.
And if you watching on the green, no ads, picture in picture, you can use up to 50 emotes. You
Let
do
me
not have
teach
to
you
be a
how to
sub.
vibe.
Just follow the channel. Eric, what's good? Appreciate everybody being tapped in to Shop Talk tonight. Been a long day, but we here. KT2 the GOAT in the building. Barbershop Los. J Frank, Mr. Swit.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Man, I appreciate y'all being tapped in. If you've been missing the Shop Talks, go back on the YouTube, go on the social media platforms, check back in with it. Today I want to talk about something special. Today I want to talk about something special. Y'all know what I want to talk about today? I want to talk about this. I want to talk about a realistic timeline for the Tennessee Titans and FA on how long it truly takes to rebuild a franchise. It didn't happen with one player. It didn't happen with one free agent. It didn't happen with one hire. So in this short period, I'm about to give y'all the rundown.
Let me teach you
There's
how
a
to
lot on the
vibe.
screen for you to look at. That's a lot to think about.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Just think about it all started with Marcus Mariota, second overall pick in the 2015 draft. along with Jay Boo, Jameis Winston, two guys that had legendary college careers. And here came Marcus Mariota. Similar to Cam Ward, you seen the talent, you seen the flashes, but you just knew what was around him wasn't enough. Very similar to the Callahan time was the Wizard Hunt time. 3-win season, uproar in the franchise. What have we become? In the next year, just like this year, Tennessee Titans get the number 1 overall pick, traded to the Rams of all teams. They got Jared Goff. In that trade, we had a lot of draft capital that we got back. Within that was Derrick Henry, Adoree Jackson, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, Jack Conklin. Like you name it, it was a lot of Tennessee Titans that got picked up during that time. Jonnu Smith, Austin Johnson. We picked up a lot of players that was on those teams that got us to the AFC title game, ultimately up 17-7 over the Chiefs. And from that moment when Patrick Mahomes ran up that sideline before half and took the lead back 21-17, that was the mark of the beginning of the Chiefs' dominance in the NFL. So I just want y'all to hear these names. I just want y'all to hear these names and truly think about it. That Dorial Green Beckham, Jeremiah Poutasi, Angelo Blackson, Justin Fowler, Roll Tide, David Cobb, DeAndre Mount, Andy Gallick, and Trey McBride. That was the draft class of Marcus Mariota. The next year in the trade back was Jack Conklin, Kevin Dodd, Austin Johnson, Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, Tajay Sharp, LaShawn Sims, Sebastian Tretola, Aaron Wallace, and Kalen Reed. Followed by the extra draft picks in 17, which Corey Davis, Adoree Jackson, Taywan Taylor, Jonnu Smith, Jayon Brown, Corey Levin, who played center for us Sunday when Cushenberry got hurt, Josh Carraway, Brad Seaton, and Khalfani Muhammad. Followed by Rashawn Evans, Harold Landry, Dane Cruikshank, and Luke Falk. And that year was the year that we got Mike Vrabel, Matt LaFleur, Dean Pease came in that 2018 season. You see how much it took for the Tennessee Titans to turn the corner from a 3-win team to a team that was in the playoffs, got rid of a coach after a playoff season, and then add in Mike Vrabel. And the real turning of the corner, which people have to see, when you draft a quarterback, it isn't usually Jaden Daniels and you go to the NFC Championship game that same year. Usually you start to see growth in the year 2. Then year 3 and 4 is when you start pushing towards the end of that first contract. Just like Jalen Hurts, just like Brock Purdy and any of the quarterbacks right now that people see that are emerging as the top guys in the league, is usually like closing in on that end of that rookie deal when they're able to put enough around a young quarterback when you take one early. So realistically, people have to be patient. And then you have to do what they did in 2019, which was year 2 of Mike Vrabel. Arthur Smith comes in, Jeffrey Simmons, A.J. Brown, Nate Davis, Amani Hooker, DeAndre Walker, and David Long. Like, 2019 was one of the best draft classes the Titans franchise ever had. And that's putting Jeff Simmons next to Jarrell Casey. That's putting Amani Hooker with Kevin Byard. You know, that's putting David Long in the middle after having Rashawn Evans and Jayon Brown, Nate Davis on that line with Lawan and the boys. Like, it takes some time. It takes some time to build it. And the realistic point of it is what you hope with Mike Berganza and whoever the coach that he brings in to help rebuild this team is you can't do what J-Rob did in 21 and 22 in the draft, is which pretty much reversed having a great group of veterans with a lot of talent drafted over a few years with the number one pick. You get into that time, the contract arises. Do you keep Tannehill? Do you go back to Mariota? What do you do? They paid Tannehill, and then you proceed to draft Caleb Farley, Dylan Radins, Monty Rice, Elijah Molden, Des Fitzpatrick over Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rashad Weaver, Racey McMath, and Brady Breeze. Like, you literally strike out. Like, how do you go from Jeff Simmons, A.J. Brown, Nate Davis, Amani Hooker, DeAndre Walker, David Long to Isaiah Wilson, Christian Fulton? Shout out to Darrington Evans. Couldn't stay healthy. Larrell Murchison, Cole McDonald, Chris Jackson to Caleb Farley, Dylan Radins, Monty Rice, Elijah Molden, Des Fitzpatrick, Rashad Weaver, Racey McMath, Brady Breeze, and then turn around and go Traylon Burks in the A.J. Brown trade, Roger McCreary, NPF, Malik Willis, Hassan Haskins, Chig, Kyle Phillips, Theo Jackson, and Chance Campbell. Like, and that goes back to that post and that video I made to show y'all, when you pick 29 selections in the NFL draft and you get down to having only 3 or 4 left on your franchise at the end of that 4-year space, that's when you lose a GM and you lose a coach and you lose a GM and you lose a coach. And we are where we are now. I said letting Henry walk for nothing hurt tremendously. But the problem with that is not, see, that's the effect. We talking about the cause. The cause is it took you from 2015 drafting Marcus Mariota to doing right in free agent. Like, did you hear the coaches that I said? Are you talking about going from Mike Vrabel, Matt LaFleur, Arthur Smith, Dean Pease to where we are now? When you talk about Brian Callahan, Mike McCoy, Nick Foles, you see what I'm saying? Colt Anderson, like, that's what you went from to what you have now. What is LaFleur, Arthur Smith, and Mike Vrabel doing now?
Let me teach
Derrick
you how to
Henry is the
vibe.
end of it. The beginning of it is you go through a 4-year space where you strike out on 90% of the players that you draft. Derrick Henry walks, you get nothing back, but you would have had to have Derrick Henry signed to a contract to get anything from him. He wanted to go to Baltimore. Baltimore had their money tied up in Odell. We couldn't trade him the year before. His final year is a year where you don't anticipate what happened with Mike Vrabel at the end of that season happening, which was you go into a meeting. Mike Vrabel wants to have more control in the front office. The meetings go bad, and now you're looking for a coach after having a coach of the year basically being let go early, to the point that we didn't get compensatory picks back from Mike Vrabel leaving, as well as not getting anything from Derrick Henry. So, you know, in order to have getting something back from Derrick Henry would have mean we would have been able to trade him pre-trade deadline to a team that could afford to keep him. And at the time, they just couldn't. So at the end of the day, Derrick Henry is the effect. The cause is you fired a GM, a coach, a GM, a coach in a 3-year span, and you missed on just about every draft pick in a 4-year span when you had the 4-year span before. Listen to the names that I said we drafted. VR, what up? That's love, Zay. Definitely got prayers up. It's been a rough little stretch for everybody. Like, you just can't go that bad drafting when you took so much time to build it up. And now what you look at and when you see the Tennessee Titans
Let me
roster
teach you how
now
to vibe.
is 4 years of turnover in the front office and 4 years of bad drafting. Because if you go back and see Rand Carthon's podcast, he said he wanted to trade and get Jahmyr Gibbs to pair with Derrick Henry. So his plan was he was going to have Jahmyr Gibbs and Derrick Henry there. but he missed out on his plan. So it's like when you don't have continuity in the front office, this is what you end up with. Instead of having A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, and Jahmyr Gibbs, you have Cam Ward, Van Jefferson, Mason Kinsey out on Sunday trying to beat the Seahawks and the Texans, and that's just not what you're gonna be able to do. So I did that because I went back and watched the Tennessee Titans 99 playoff run last night. And then I turned around and watched the 2019 playoff run and ask yourself, like, look at the people, look at the bodies that was on the sideline coaching and playing. And you don't get that overnight. It takes some time. It took some time with McNair to build it. It took some time at the end of McNair's tenure with Vince Young to build what they had. And then it took some time when Mariota came in. So if you just think about a good 2 to 3 year window is what it'll take to build it, just as much as that time it
Let me
took to
teach
build
you
it,
how to vibe.
you can let it all crumble by not continuing to build. And I need all the fans to remember that when you think about so many people that think Cam Ward was going to come in and change the Tennessee Titans overnight. You had a 3-win season when you drafted Mariota number 2 overall. When you take Cam Ward at the top, nobody should have been thinking that the Tennessee Titans could win more. I said 5 or 6 games would be great. I said reality is probably less than that. And now that we're less than that, people are looking surprised. But the Tennessee Titans took Mariota and had the number 1 pick the next year and traded it to the Rams. The Rams got Goff. The rest is history of how that went. And the rest is history of the legendary players that the Titans got back in that trade. And that's what you should be looking forward to this year, being patient and really looking at the free agent and draft board. It's not one free agent that comes in and changes this roster. It's not one player. It's going to take a coaching staff, and it's going to take, like they had, which was, 3 to 4 consecutive years of good drafts. So it's like, I just need the Titan fan base to understand what we're actually looking for. And when you talk about this franchise, since the merger, 55 years from 70 to now, Titans have been to 5 conference championships. That's one every 11 years. The cyclical nature of it is Bill Callahan was coaching the Raiders in 2002 when they put us out of the playoffs, and then come back to coach for us in this cycle of rebuilding to get fired. Him and his son is just like the circle of life. One thing is born, one thing dies, and something else is risen from the ashes. But realistically, that's what you're looking at, that every decade the Tennessee Titans can make a conference championship. And for all the people that, troll and joke, winning the division is nothing. Making the playoffs is nothing. If you're spending money and you have decent talent, winning the division or making the playoffs is nothing. The Pittsburgh Steelers haven't won a playoff game in a decade. The Houston Texans, who were the favorite of the AFC South coming into this year and won the AFC South last year, haven't ever been to an AFC conference title game. Dallas Cowboys, 30 years. I mean, we can just go down the list of teams, and what it really means to be a contender means conference championship game. The Lions made one and was a few plays away from being in the Super Bowl a few years ago. How hard is it? When was the last time the Commanders was in a conference championship? You need to just go down the line and say, like, that's what it truly means to build a roster to compete and to contend. Anybody can make the wild card. Anybody can get hot for a few games. But when it really boils down to it, who can get to a conference championship and give themselves a legitimate chance to get to a Super Bowl? Because it's very hard to do. We have some of the most ultimate teams and players in the league right now. Josh Allen, not been to a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, not been to a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, as well as he's playing and as good as the Cowboys offense look, not been to a Super Bowl. It's not an easy thing to do. And what's even harder is like getting to that moment and not being able to get back. If you listen to Bussin' with the Boys with Derrick Henry, you seen that him talking about, man, when he said we had some dogs. When you go back and watch the tape, and see how many Jeff Simmons and Jarrell Casey side by side, Corey Davis and AJ Brown emerging as a rookie wide receiver and seeing all the pieces that they had to the puzzle. It's like you have to really put yourself in the mindset of what it would take for your team to get there. Like it just don't happen with just average nothing. It don't happen with average nothing. So it's like when you're looking at the Titans now, it's gonna take 2 years of building for them to be within a stone's throw to make a shot like that. And that was my shop talk for today, was getting the fan base and fans to see that a wild card is nothing, a winning season is nothing, a division championship is cool, but it means nothing. It just boils down to, can you get to a conference title game? And look what it took. It took Mike Vrabel. It took J-Rob. It took Jeff Simmons in the 2019 class. It took Mariota turning the franchise around, being a number one pick QB. It took the next year trading with the Rams and getting multiple first round draft picks that turned into Pro Bowl players. I mean, Derrick Henry, Hall of Fame, Jack Conklin, Pro Bowler, Austin Johnson, Adoree Jackson, who's still starting for the Eagles, Jonnu Smith, Corey Davis. Like, is a lot of players that were put together to get to this moment here, to be up 17-7 in a conference championship versus the Chiefs. Before the Chiefs had taken over the NFL by storm. I mean, just listen to all those names drafted, and it ain't free agents that came in and helped. This is strictly just draft, and that's what it's gonna take, because this draft class that the Tennessee Titans got this year is the cornerstone of turning it around. It's the cornerstone of turning it around. Now, Brownlee has turned into a draft pick. Jaquan Jackson is gone. James Williams is still hanging on. Jalen Harrell is still hanging on. Cedric Gray has emerged. One of the top tacklers in the NFL. J.C. Latham, we're still going to give him time to heal and grow, along with T Sweat. They both got to stay healthy and really take care of their body. But Cam Ward, Femi, Kevin Winston Jr., who's turned into a dog. People got to realize that you don't get Kevin Winston without trading back for Femi, because this third round pick did not exist because of the L'Jarius Sneed trade. So you just always got to remember that these two guys are a package. And Chimere DK, who leads the NFL in all-purpose yards and is at the top of touchdown receptions for the Tennessee Titans. Gunnar Helm, who led us in receiving and is now more than likely tight end one on the Tennessee Titans. Alec Aomaner, Jackson Slater, who we've yet to see, who is probably going to take over for Cushenberry or Zietler next season. And Marcus Harris, who is good enough that you heard Denard Wilson today explain why they worked him outside before putting him inside, that they already knew that he could be our nickel to trade Jarvis Brownlee and Roger McCreary and get 2 6-round picks back when you're going to have your nickel of the future there. And Kalel Mullins, who we want to see in short yardage. I don't listen to Tennessee Titan media. They always troll. They always tell you that, hey, how good is this kid really going to be? Well, we look at Kyle Monangai. You look at Isaiah Pacheco. You look at some of the late round backs that are balling right now and say, why would a Michigan bell cow not be better than what we have rushing currently? 25 yards rushing, 27 yards rushing, 39 yards rushing at home from our running backs. Cam Ward is leading us in rushing the last several games. I'd like to see what this kid has. And if you add Xavier Restrepo and Crenshaw Dixon in there, the Tennessee Titans could have really hit gold with this draft class. And this could be the start of the Tennessee Titans turnaround like they did years ago when they started after taking Mariota and having these back-to-back draft classes with starting caliber players, people that were the faces of the franchise. Jack Conklin, Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, Corey Davis, Adoree Jackson, Jonnu Smith, Jayon Brown, Corey Levin. You know, these guys who major contributors to the Tennessee Titans, going from the worst team in the league 2 years in a row to being a team that perennially made the playoffs and made it to a conference championship. And then in 22, had the number 1 seed in the AFC, and we won't talk about the Bengals game. You see, I see what you're saying, especially now there's a certain window because it's really ran by the Chiefs. Every generation has the team. Last time it was the Patriots that ran in so many years. Had to get there during the years where they're not at their best. The thing is, y'all aren't boxed into a bad long-term contracts anymore. That matters if they actually do draft well. And you have to give Rand Carthon credit. And I made that post that he put 2-year window outs that kind of leads you believe that he knew he only had 2 years and didn't get 2 years to flip the franchise, because this year, June cuts, you can wait, and Red will be a 10 cut, and then Snead will be $8 million, and you'll probably get the $8 million credited back, depending on what happens with his legal situation. I'll never wish anything bad legally on anybody, so definitely not wishing nothing bad legally on Snead in account of the Tennessee Titans $8 million. That's not even my concern. But it is to say the Tennessee Titans will be at the top of cap space this year because of the way Rand structured those contracts. They're not tied to anybody, and the upcoming contracts will be cheap.
Let me teach you how
if they
to vibe.
choose to decide to re-sign Tig. A couple like pieces I feel like are key.
Let me teach you how to
like
vibe.
Tig, Arden Key. It's a couple people contracts that's coming up. I think you should extend Pete and Jeff and just go ahead and pay them early while you have so much excess, and stop trying to get the home run duct tape on the boat. When I showed you those 3 to 4 year windows of drafts and adding players and adding coaches, it wasn't just one big name free agent that you bring in that's going to change that. It's going to take like slow, consistent building to where when we got to that conference championship roster, it was guys that had really bought in. What's popping, y'all? But that's what you have to do, because when you go look at that AFC championship roster, and I'll show y'all, when you go look and see who were the players, what did that roster look like? What did that starting lineup look like for the Titans? Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, Corey Davis, Tajay Sharp in the slot, Jonnu Smith, Nate Davis, Taylor Lewan, Jack Conklin, Roger Saffold, and Ben Jones. Like, that came from drafting. Ben Jones was the free agent acquisition that we pulled in to play center, but Nate Davis, Lewan, Jack Conklin, these guys are drafted. Jonnu Smith, Corey Davis, Tajay Sharp, AJ Brown, Derrick Henry. You know, you bring in Tannehill because of the injury issues with Mariota. Who knows what would have happened if that next year they didn't give Tannehill that $120 million. What if they would have gave Mariota
Let me
a
teach you
smaller,
how to vibe.
shorter contract, like 3 years, 60, 70 million, and didn't tie so hard into Tannehill? Like, what would have been different? Because we respect Tannehill and what he did. He definitely solidified the franchise in a tough time and took us somewhere we hadn't been in 20 years. But also, we all know that Marcus Mariota, going into his second contract, if healthy, would have been a more dynamic player at the quarterback position long term. On the defense, looking at Daquan Jones, Jarrell Casey, Correa, Harold Landry, Rashawn Evans, Jeffrey Simmons, Jayon Brown, Adoree Jackson, Logan Ryan, Tremaine Brock, Kevin Byard, Kenny Vaccaro, who I met in person at GCX, Mac Beast. Like, that was, Mac Beast came after, but that was like, when you look at the players, that's different, because on that same roster, on that same roster. You look at some of the extra guys: David Long, Wesley Woodyard, LaShawn Sims, Ty Smith, Darren Bates, who's still coaching now, Derek Roberson, and Brett Kern, Michael Pruitt, Deion Lewis was behind Derrick Henry. Dennis Kelly was the swing. Anthony Ferkser, backup tight end. Adam Humphries in the slot, making some tough catches over the middle. And Marcus Mariota was the backup that came in a lot of times in packages in the goal line. You know, that's a lot of different people, players, and names that that for sure made a difference. As I can't go back and look at the 53 on that 2019 team. You go back and look at Kari Blasingame at fullback. That was a deep team, man. That was a very deep team that had so many different collective players that added to that roster. Cap space fixes mistakes quicker than contracts do. So yeah, definitely got to give him credit. Prime Rashawn Evans was a problem. Definitely a hitman out there tackling the running back. It seems like they kept rebuilding the rebuild over the years. Titans are a tough franchise to actually analyze. That's why the Titans media is full of junk for the most part. They don't know what they're talking about or actually know what's going on. See, the problem, I'm going to tell you the problem with the Titans media and the Titans fan base. Most of the Titan media are people who cover the Tennessee Titans, but are not Tennessee Titan fans. Now, just because you know a lot about a team or been around for a long time, don't mean that because it's a small market and the Pat McAfees and the Stephen A. Smiths and the Orlovskis, people are not calling the local Tennessee Titan media when they need questions or answers. It's more of a troll, right? Lowest ticket sales, lowest TV ratings when the Titans are down, small market team. If you follow the history of how the Titans got to Nashville, you know, a team that was playing in borrowing stadiums when they first got to Nashville, and this carried over. The carryover effect is the media turns into trolls. So instead of giving insider information, it's hard to decipher who is giving you insider information or who's trolling for clicks to be the villain of, let me dog Cam Ward out every week because I know the fan base will watch my show. Or let me make fun of this particular player on the defense because it's going to give me clicks. This week it was, let's make fun of Xavier
Let me teach you how to
even though
vibe.
every time he comes to the podium, the kid is talking about his faith, how hard he works, how much he wants to be given the opportunity. And we've done this with those unsung players over the years, the Aaron Brewers, the Nick Westbrook, Ken Hayes, guys that for the lack of terms, like come in undrafted, wind up being fan favorites. Our media thinks it's funny to troll. You see what I'm saying? So that's where you get into like, okay, I watch TD because TD is going to give me real information about what's going on with the team. I watch PK because PK is going to ask the toughest questions that we all want to hear. And sometimes he plays the villain. Okay, Buck is always just going to do off the wall, just like I just need conversation going. Steelman is the same way. So it's like I can't take them too serious, even though I want to watch them.
Let me teach
keep
you how
up
to vibe.
with the team, but it's so hard when it's obvious that people that cover the team like have their agendas. So for me, I got my own mind. I've been watching the team and keeping up with them for as long as I can remember. But it's just the point of, as I eased back off of gaming and got more into lifestyle and covering and keeping up with the teams I follow, now that I kind of like watch it, I'm like, man, most of these guys really are trolls. It's not hard to look at what's really going on. You know, it's the let's troll Amy Adams Strunk for a week. Now for the next 2 weeks, they're not even going to cover the Jaguars. They're going to talk about Cam Ward and Shador and who we should have taken, all this crazy stuff. When in reality, you look at it and say, y'all wanted Cam Ward to run more. He's leading the team in rushing. Tennessee Titans spent a gazillion resources on offensive line and 2 first-round picks, top 10, a $82 million tackle, a $10 million right guard, and a $60 million center. And we cannot run the football 25 yards, 27 yards, 39 yards at home. The most penalized offensive line in the league, because you fired your offensive line coach and run game coordinator, and you stripped your head coach of play calling duties to overskip the offensive coordinator to give it to the quarterback's coach. And now you just have a jumbled mess of who's actually coordinating the run game. You ran Tony Pollard in the dirt. He has no juice left. You get Tajay Spears and run him like he's Derrick Henry, but you have Kalel Mullins on the bench who you won't run in short yardage situations, and you're using Julius Chestnut. Just doesn't make sense. So you got these things of like, you watch them come to the podium today, and Nick Hole says, well, Cam Ward's he's got rapport with all the receivers. Clearly it's something special and something different about him and Restrepo. So the local media and the coaching staff would rather fight being wrong about the talent that they evaluated, which is we've had to sit and watch Kevin Winston Jr. sit on the bench and play special teams until he got in, and you see why they traded back and took Femi to get him. You seen Femi starting to come on early in the season up until the point that he got injured. You start to see Marcus Harris, who they were playing outside, and Denard Wilson did a good job of explaining why he started outside and moved inside. You know, you got one guy that's allegedly part of a drive-by shooting. You traded 2 other guys off, one for personal reasons, one because he wasn't a scheme fit and you want to get something back from him because you weren't going to re-sign him. And now the Tennessee Titans are still getting pressure on QBs and still doing things. You didn't know that Cedric Gray was going to be a starting linebacker up until preseason was over. And now James Williams, you can't find any kind of way to get him on the field after him almost taking that spot from Cedric Gray. Like, all of it to me just doesn't flow well. So I can't in good faith listen to these coaches explain, saying that Cam Ward doesn't have a special relationship with Xavier Restrepo when we all seen it. Like, it's like we can't unsee that. So now you're telling me that Mason Kinsey is more important on special teams than seeing your young quarterback have a familiar target after you paid Tyler Lockett $4 million and you let Nick Westbrook go for less. And people say, oh, well, he wanted to go there. Yeah, if you're getting disrespected, there won't be a player on Tennessee Titans that has 9 receiving touchdowns as an undrafted free agent this year. Calvin Ridley won't have 9 touchdowns in any season he played in Nashville.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Aomon's not getting 9. DK might get 9 if they throw him the football, but you got Restrepo, DK, and Prochet playing behind Tyler Lockett and Mason Kinsey. So I just never understood not getting Gunnar Helm the ball as much, not getting Chig the ball. And in all these situations, they realize like the coaching staff and the local media don't want to be wrong about evaluating what they're looking at. And now you're trying to tell me that Kalel Mullins won't be the best in between the tackles running back on the team, when this is the same team that had Derrick Henry on the bench and Deion Lewis playing. They thought that Derrick Henry was a bust. Some kind of way he finds himself on to the field, and he's a Hall of Fame running back. So that's my problem with the media And Kentrell, that's like a great point that you made. But that's the problem with the local media and the coaching staff is we just don't trust them. We don't. Are the Titans rebuilding or they're hoping something clicks? I think Mike Bergonzi knows that this is a rebuild. And I'm going to tell you why. The draft class that he just hit on, mixed with the way he set this team up for this free agent period, and is still standing on saying, no. We're still not going to go blow the bank in free agency. We're going to build through the draft, and we're going to find supplemental players through free agency. The fact that what I thought was right was, do you like Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, or do you like the field this year? It's proven right to take Cam Ward first last year, trade back and get Femi and Kevin Winston, and now have a plethora of draft picks to come into this year. If you trade back next year to where his original plan was double-digit top 100 picks in the first 3 years and picking about 10 selections every year, 10 to 12 selections every year in the draft. And he's achieved that, as well as having a lot of cap space free. And we now are able to kind of see what the young class hit is. So this is like a 10 out of 10 draft class. We haven't even seen Jackson Slater, Crenshaw Dixon, and we just now seen Restrepo. We haven't seen Khalil Mullins yet. So if Khalil Mullins is a solid back, if Jackson Slater can play interior offensive line, and if Crenshaw Dixon can at least be as good as Oli Udoh and better than John Ojukwu at swing tackle, then like really like he's hit 100%. The only question mark is really Dan Moore, but Dan Moore hasn't been bad overall in pass pro. The problem with this line is they can't run. I don't know if it's scheme. I don't know if it's talent, but I do got a good idea because I've been asking the question to all the Titans media to see what they think, and none of them seem to agree with where I see it as. A big part of it is they let Bill Callahan go because Bo Hardegree is not a better play caller than Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan just couldn't call plays as a rookie head coach and coach the team. It was too much for him. But when your run game coordinator is your offensive line coach, who's in charge of it? The run plays they do are so obvious and so slow developing that it's the scheme and the way they go about running. It's like they run wasted downs. It's not intentional. I think that's the big part of the run game. And I think they have the wrong players in the wrong positions. But I think before they was just hoping something click. I think right now, because throwing $100 million at Calvin Ridley and throwing $100 million at L'Jarius Sneed and Chido Awuzie was hoping something clicks, right? This is intentional about a rebuild because you trade off Jarvis, you trade off Roger, and they have a specific type that looks like it's bigger, faster, and more athletic that they're building, and that's what they're trying to put on the field. And even though they haven't had success, when you go look at the free agent pool, I understand why they tried Baker Jr. and Armar Davis. They're around 25, 26 years old, and they're staying with the free agents that they bring in are going to be guys that at the end of their first contract, beginning of their second contract, and that's where they're going. So that's why I think that they're truly rebuilding now. But the biggest point is going to be who they hire as head coach. Because I think running the football and the way they play on Sundays is an attitude thing. You have to have the attitude to run the football. You have to have the attitude to be a physical football team. You have to have the right mentality to erase penalties. You got to be disciplined. And I think Jeffrey Simmons on defense and Cam Ward on offense is the perfect two people to build that around. He said Callahan came from the McVay coaching tree. The job was just too much for him. The problem was Rand was a first-time GM. He was a first-time head coach and play caller, with a first-time special teams coach, with a first-time offensive coordinator, with a first-time defense. Denard Wilson probably has been the best coach that he had out of that group of coaches. And then this year they brought in Bones Fossil. But when you look at it from that standpoint, the problem with Callahan is he had too many first-time people with him outside of his dad. Like, you need some people that you can count on. Like, when I showed you, like, who these other coaches brought in the past, like, you know, when you got Andy Reid calling the offense and you got Spags calling your defense, they're not really worried about how they're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're more focused on putting the right pieces of the puzzle together to make it work. You look at the teams that struggle, and those are teams that, you know, they have identity crisis. That's how you play down the competition. That's how you don't really have an identity. That's how the 49ers can win with shuffling so many pieces, because it's Kyle Shanahan's offense and you have Robert Saleh on defense. You have a head coach coaching your defense, and you got a head coach coaching your offense and calling plays. Very intentional on what they know they want out of their players. When you look at the Tennessee Titans, you look at Brian Callahan and Mike McCoy, you don't know what you're getting. You knew what you was getting out of Rabel. And as much as people try to sugarcoat it, that's why I made the post that I made to say that in the last 4 seasons, the Tennessee Titans have lost 10 games in each season. 2 of those years was Mike Vrabel. 1 of those years is Brian Callahan. This last one has been Callahan / McCoy. So you can put that on Callahan as well. But it just goes to show that, like, one hand has to wash the other. The front office has to put the right players. The coaches have to have the right identity and be intentional about what they're doing. And you got to draft well, and you can't lose on free agents and trades. And that's what they've been doing. On trades and free agency, they've been losing. The places where the Tennessee Titans have won in free agency and trades. But I do think that Mike Bergonzi is on the right track to getting the team back to where it needs to be. And that's my serious answer to, are they hoping something clicks, or are they rebuilding? I really think they rebuilding. And I think Brian Callahan's next opportunity, he'll do better. But I just think he is overwhelmed on having too many responsibilities, almost like information overload. Like, you got so much going on, you can't do the simple things right, like walk and chew gum. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I hope the Tennessee Titans get the right coach. I hope that they approach this free agent period smart. And I hope they don't make a mistake that they've made in the past. And some people could disagree with this if they want. You got to retain the players that show you they care. The Titans could get another tight end in the draft. Gunnar Helm is probably tight end 1. But if you can go in right now and talk to Chig and get a team-friendly deal and get him under contract, to where you're not thinking about going into free agency and saying, I don't want to give Chig $4 million a year, but I'm going to sign 2 free agents that won't work out for $3 million and burn a draft pick. I think you got to go in. If you in 4 years where you drafted 29 players and only 3 of them are left, you got to realistically think about Pete, Chig. Like, some of these guys got to stay. Like, I don't think Tajay will get another contract next year because he just haven't been healthy enough. He haven't taken what I thought this year, where he was going to take another step forward and take the job from Tony Pollard and be the guy, where Pollard kind of fades away and you have Khalil Mullen step up. You know, when you do got some guys, you know, Arden Key is productive. I think you can get him back on the team friendly. Jahad Ward, you get him back on a 1 year. Sebastian Joseph Day, some guys that actually have worked out in those spell roles that are good rotational guys, good locker room guys that's going to come in and be professional and work. The Titans can't continue to lose those type of guys and watch them flourish elsewhere when they were cheaper options than what we got. Like Aaron Brewer probably could still be the center of the Tennessee Titans for way cheaper than what Lloyd Cushenberry is, because he's been hurt and he's been mid. We could have left J.C.
Let me
Latham
teach
at
you how
left
to
tackle.
vibe.
We could have had Oli Udoh, Crenshaw Dixon, and you could have taken some shot in the draft at another tackle and kept your $82 million, because I thought J.C. Latham at left tackle last year in his rookie year was better than Dan Moore this year in his even though J.C. has struggled, but you take him from right to left, back to right, and deal with an injury. I mean, it's a lot to keep up with. Coming back your first game against Max Crosby, Will Anderson, like, I mean, he's not had it light, to say the least. Not excuses, but it's just simply the truth of where I feel like at some points they wasted resources. Like $4 million on Lockett for him to walk out halfway through the season and take reps away from DK, Restrepo early on makes no sense when you could have had NWI cheaper. You know, so you go get Van Jefferson and Lockett, and neither one of these guys are going to get 9 touchdowns and be a guy that's already bought in. So I think they got to do a better job of, when we get guys in the building, with all those names I just gave you over the years, the difference you've seen in that 2019 team was, yes, Jeffrey Simmons was there, but Jarrell Casey was still there. Yes, Tannehill was there, but Mariota was still there. Yes, Derrick Henry is there, along with Deion Lewis, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Tajay Sharp, Jonnu Smith. All these guys that you had were there along with you, and we haven't been able to fill that right tackle role since Jack Conklin didn't get retained. Since Taylor Lewan left, it's been a turnstile at left tackle from Andre Dillard, Dennis Daly. You name the guys we've put there, NPF at right tackle. Dylan Radins. How many picks have we thrown at those? Isaiah Wilson. How many picks have we thrown at those positions when Jack Conklin is still playing good football for the Browns right now? It's that Callahan's scheme needed the talent that he just didn't have. But also, as a coach, you have to know one thing about Callahan is, I feel like he was over his head. He didn't know how to adjust his scheme. He got Joe Burrow killed his first years in on the Bengals. Those long developing shot plays that he runs is bad scheme. You have to be able to adjust your scheme to the talent. So when I see LaFleur do it, when I see McVay do it, when I see Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid not have Rashee Rice half the season and have Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyquan Thornton still produced, it just showed me that some coaches is able to change their offense based upon the talent and some can't. You can't get credit for being a great offensive coach if you can't adjust your scheme to the talent. I mean, Buccaneers still score points. No Mike Evans, no Godwin, 10 running backs out. Buccaneers, all right, rookies, y'all get in there. Ted Johnson and Emeka Egbuka get in and work. You see what I'm saying? Like, but we have a struggling run game with Khalil Mullins in the backfield that we won't give the ball to. So can I say that it's don't have the talent, or Tennessee Titans got the talent, they just don't use it? Your best pass catchers are your tight ends. It's Gunnar Helm and Chig Okonkwo. Restrepo is a capable target. Chim DK was blocking for Tyler Lockett early in the season instead of, like, I can't say not have talent. Then the talent you do have, you don't do nothing with, because, year one of Brian Callahan was 1,000-yard Ridley, 1,000-yard D-Hop, Tyler Boyd, who was regarded at the top of the league as slot receivers at the time. You got Chig Okonkwo, middle of the pack or better at tight end, one of the fastest tight ends in the league at tight end, with Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears. Like, he had enough. I just don't think he was able to. He didn't know how to get D-Hop and Rid the ball. So, like, even when he had the talent that he wanted, he wasn't able to do anything with it as far as distribution of the football. you know, whether it was the veteran Mason Rudolph or whether it was Will Levis, because I seen Malik Willis go to the Packers and in a few weeks come back and beat dog walk us, and they adjusted their offense to his strong suit, and he went 3-0 as a backup. So I can't say that he didn't have the talent, because that team, year one of Will Levis and year two under Callahan with Levis, was a more talented roster than what we have currently now. Can you imagine Cam Ward starting this year with a D-Hop coming off 1,000-yard season, a Ridley coming off 1,000-yard season, Taj Boyd in the slot? Like they had a lot more working in their offense than what they do now.
Let me teach
But
you
I
how to
still
vibe.
go back and say the talent that they got, they don't use it well, because I just feel like they just get stuck into a certain thought process of trying to do things one way instead of flipping it around. Like when you're running inside handoffs with Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, I'm like, why are you not trying to get them to the edge? I watched the Seahawks do it last week with Kubiak and McDonald. I told y'all pregame, got Big Jeff and T Sweat in the middle, got a game wreck. I said they're gonna kill us on the edge. You know, Arden Key and Jahar Ward are pass rushers. They're not necessarily run stoppers. And they just lined up and ran off tackle on us all game. They ran away from Jeff and T Sweat. You know what I'm saying? Like they strung us out and found running lanes to the outside, and the Titans will just line up 4th and 1 and try to run at Leonard Williams. It's like Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams is inside. Like, you're gonna run dead at Sheldon Rankins. You're gonna run a run scheme where Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter are unblocked on the edge. Like, I don't get it. You know, we did the same thing against Max Crosby. Like, so many schemes where Max Crosby was unblocked in the run game. That I don't understand. Gas man, what it do? Lil D. But you know, y'all got any more questions? Keep shooting, because that was my stand on point today, was looking at a team that the fan base and the media act as if you can fix this thing in one off season, when reality is it's going to take 2 years of what they did this year stacked on top of each other before the Tennessee Titans can compete and contend. But it's doable and it's simple. Like it doesn't take that much. It honestly doesn't. It don't take much for the Tennessee Titans to be a team that competes in the South, beats good football teams, because they're competing with nothing right now. And, you know, like I said last pod, people are so critical of Cam Ward because the Titans have to play perfect football to have a chance to win. You watch Sam Darnold throw 4 picks and still could and should have won the football game. You watch Brock Purdy have more turnovers than completions at halftime with 3 interceptions and still win a game by double digits and control it, because the rest of your team is better coached and more talent than what they currently have. And you look at the Titans, make one mistake and they're getting blown out by the Colts. They make one mistake and they're getting beat bad by the Texans. They're getting one mistake and they're getting beat by the Broncos double digits, by the Rams double digits. All the teams they faced have been good teams. Seahawks, like all these teams the Titans have played, they can't afford to make mistakes. You put a rookie quarterback in there and, hey, man, you tell this guy to play mistake-free football. Say, go throw for 300 yards, have 70, 80 per completion percentage. Doesn't matter who the receivers are. You have the coaches still come to the podium and say, your rapport with certain receivers don't matter. You cannot run the football. Your defensive secondary, your cornerbacks are practice squad guys. And Denard Wilson is keeping us in games even with that. And you still hypercritical of every mistake that Cam Ward makes, because if the Titans make one mistake, they get blown out. And that's what they got to change culture wise, not just on the team, not just in the locker room, in the media, in the front office have to understand it. Like this is a collective effort to not ruin a quarterback for a franchise that last 4,000 yard passer was class of 78 Warren Moon. was a franchise that Steve McNair had to go tell Jeff Fisher, hey, give me the team or this ain't gonna work. You have a situation where McNair is supposed to groom Vince Young, but you don't want to pay McNair, and he goes 13-3 with the Ravens, a rival the next season, and you underdevelop Vince Young because he goes 8-8, 10-6, and he's on the cover of Madden, and you lose him because you didn't develop him, and then you get Jake Locker, and it's a complete disaster, and then you get Marcus Mariota, and the team doctors do the team doctor thing that the Titans always do, and winds up going with Tannehill, and the deal with Tannehill cost us in the long run a lot of players that we weren't able to re-sign from those great draft classes. You don't get to keep Jonnu Smith. You almost lost Derrick Henry. You lose Julio Jones trying to keep money to sign Jeffrey Simmons and AJ Brown, and then you wind up losing AJ Brown over contract disputes, and you get Traylon Burks and Malik Willis back. And it just comes into a cycle, and it just snowballs into a point where you're not able to keep consistent talent on your roster because the Tennessee Titans collectively is a toxic culture at times that thrives on trolling the fan base rather than giving realistic expectations. Because I'm a big Cam Ward fan, and I was one that say take Cam Ward 1 or trade back and try to get Shador. I said if you can't get Shador, there's Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe. That's what I still stand on of the way I wanted to go, because there's a lot of people that said don't take Ward or Shador, trade back, take Abdul Carter because he's a generational talent at edge, and that has proved to not be correct. Even though I think Abdul Carter will turn into a good pro, I don't think he'll be Lawrence Taylor, but at the same time, he just had to go into this thought process of, the franchise that you bringing in the number 1 pick to, what the roster look like, what the coaching staff looks like, and we just hoping that we don't ruin whoever we bring in, because that's what the Tennessee Titans and the Browns and the Saints and the Jets and all these teams that go through these cycles always have, is they ruin their young players, and the people that they draft don't get to their second contract, and they wind up going to a better situation after and thriving. He said 57 minutes of media venting. This is therapeutic for the Tennessee Titan fan base. Need to hear this. They need to hear somebody who doesn't have an agenda, somebody who's not trolling the fan base for clicks and comments and interaction and engagement, that's not trying to be the villain. I'm just here saying, yes, does Cam Ward need to clean up those random fumbles? Looks like he have. Does Cam Ward need to run the ball to help his team out? Looks like he have. Does Cam Ward need to match his footwork with his eyes and his progressions? Yes, and all those things, throwing the ball away, making better checks at the line has improved. So it's like, now that they don't have that anymore, it's the troll Restrepo. That's the troll the Shador game coming up. Like, at some point, like, can we just focus on what Cam Ward and his team is doing better? And for the few other rookies that we haven't seen, I want to see Khalil Mullins, I want to see Jackson Slater, and I want to see Femi get healthy, and I want to see more of Restrepo. If that means that Mason Kinsey has to get cut, I salute Mason Kinsey and his hard work and his dedication. Put him back on the practice squad. Nobody gonna pick him up. But if AO come back, give me AO, give me DK, give me Van Jefferson, give me Strep, and give me Prochet. Those are the 5 I want. I don't want to hear about special teams. I don't want to hear about special teams. We don't carry fullbacks. If you want to run 4 running backs out there, I want to see Khalil Mullins and Tajay Spears get the ball. You can leave Chestnut and Pollard in those rotational roles, but you're not bringing Tony Pollard back next year. You're going to eat the $2 million and move on. Nobody's trading for Tony Pollard, so nobody wants to pay him $8 million next year. Shout out to Tony Pollard, great guy, but I want to see Khalil Mullins and Tajay Spears. I said that run scheme seems questionable this year. Overall, y'all are more modern. I'm happy that y'all starting to use more pre-snap motion. And see, they don't use a lot of the pre-snap motion because the offensive line leads the league in penalties. So it's to try to get things in and out of huddle to play faster is the reason why you see less pre-snap motion with Bo Hardegree and Callahan. All that stupid orbit motion and all of it looks dumb. What they should be doing is what most teams do, which is move a tight end or split a running back out wide and bring it back in, like simple things. All the jet sweep motion for the Titans mean false start 2nd and 10. Like that's what that means for the Tennessee Titans. They use motion less than any other team, but it's because they're the most penalized offense and they're the most sloppy looking offense that you've ever seen. They're a horrible screen team. They cannot run the football. All the slow developing run plays, and the run plays that they have run, like outside zones and motioning running backs in to get them on quick hitters, they don't run those often. You know, they ran the wild Pollard, and I don't know why you would have Tajay Spears, who ran the Wildcat in the past, who was much better at it, or if you had Khalil Mullins, who's a power back, why you wouldn't run him in between the tackles instead of running Pollard and Spears into a brick wall. Tennessee Titans have got to get to more of that double team, duo, zone run blocking schemes and try to let their running backs quick hit and one cut, because the style of running that they do, it's just not it. I mean, you see them running like inside zones and traps out the shotgun with unblocked edges, and it never works. And you asking the rookie to come to the line and check in and out of run plays and run fits. And if we had a better offensive line, when you watch good teams, you'll watch the Eagles, you'll watch some of these teams, offensive guards stand up with the quarterback and call out where they want to go with it. Yes, it's obvious. Yes, they know they're running the ball, but it's a big difference to know what somebody's going to do, and it's another thing to stop it. And that comes with attitude. So the offense has looked better the last month, I think, as Cam Ward has got more comfortable. But how much of that is him just unlearning all the bad things that they've been teaching him and just playing more natural football? Because when you look at, like, people talk about the Falcons and Penix, they're saying that Penix can't play under center. That's why they run pistol and shotgun. Well, that's a coaching issue. If you had a quarterback that hadn't ran much under center, like all offseason, all summer, all preseason, extra time periods in practice, he's going to take reps under center until his footwork and his eye discipline gets better, checking in and out of plays under center. You know, like that's coaching. You know, that rookie just is no good. Like, you know, kind of similar to Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson total in his career hardly played any games in college and pro. Like, some of these things is coaching. Like, you need to get in there and make him take reps on it. I don't know if you've seen that Cam Newton segment. He was breaking down what happens pre-snap for a quarterback is crazy. Yeah. And one thing, Kentrell, if y'all don't know, when I end my Facebook and YouTube portions of the stream, which is the shop talk, in the late night streams on Kick and Twitch, when I do that, we can watch game highlights. We can go back and watch podcasts, and we watch a lot of the Titans insiders and stuff like that. Like, that's something we can watch, and we do watch. And I like Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton falls under the discourse of Shador. People discredit what Cam Newton did as an athlete because they don't personally like him, but they never met him. Because a lot of the stuff that the takes that he have are way better than most of the people that you see on TV. But because people personally don't like Cam, he's the perfect person to relate to Shador. You know, on a Florida team behind Tebow, Glenn College championship, Auburn championship, NFL rookie of the year, 4,000-yard passer, took the Panthers to the Super Bowl. The Panthers haven't been anything since they let go of Cam Newton. So ultimately, at the end of the day, like, I don't know if we've ever seen an athlete that like Cam Newton, that knows about being scrutinized and talk bad about, you know, the son of a preacher man playing in Alabama Stadium and Bryant Denny when they came back and beat us. You know, some of those things like that Cam Newton knows firsthand about. Cam Newton, one of my favorites. You see, people like, I hate when I hear people say, man, we've never seen anything like Josh Allen. Yes, we have. Is black. His name is Cam Newton. Like Josh Allen and Cam Newton remind me a lot of each other, but as good as Josh Allen is, he has not done what Cam Newton has done in his career. Cam Newton won with Florida. He won with Glenn. He won a championship with Auburn. He been to a Super Bowl. Like, bro, Josh Allen got to get to the Super Bowl. Like, Cam Newton had the miracle season on Auburn in the SEC. Like, those were those stacked Bama teams, stacked LSU teams that he was going against on his run. You know, there's an Oregon team that he beat in the championship. Like, y'all can't name me no players on Auburn team when Cam Newton was there outside of Nick Farley. That's it. You know, you can't name me nobody that was on those Panthers teams that went to the Super Bowl. On defense, you can. On offense, you can't. Devin Funches. Bro, get serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, people be disrespecting Cam because they don't like how he dressed or how he talk. That ain't got nothing to do with Cam Newton, the man. So that's why I fight he relate to what Shador be going through, because I wanted Cam Ward at 1. I wanted Shador on the trade back. Now we look like the Browns burnt the top 100 pick on Dylan Gabriel. So when you look at my reasoning was mentally, I like where Cam Ward was at is he's all business all the time. He could deal with the negativity and the toxicity of Nashville. I feel like if Shador came, Shador would have been the guy that finally gave us some star power. So when I seen Cam Ward on a commercial with Jay Jettis and Gunna, I said, thank God, like we have somebody that could get a shoe deal or can get an endorsement. You know, Will Levis was the mayonnaise endorsement doing the splits, eating mayonnaise. Like, bro, we need somebody that's going to come in and put some sauce on Tennessee that, you know, Derrick Henry was that person for a decade of. He was the identity of the Tennessee Titans was Derrick Henry, tough defense, hard-nosed run game, you know, guys that make plays. You know, when we was on the verge of having superstars, you know, Vince Young on the cover of Madden and A.J. Brown being one of the faces at wide receiver, they always leave. So, you know, this is our chance to have some young guys that are the face of the team. And I think Cam Ward can be that. He said it wasn't Jackson Price running back for Auburn. Bro, I said name me some good players on Cam Newton's teams. He said doing the splits, eating mayonnaise is wild. Am I lying? Am I lying? Like, was Will Levis not doing the splits, eating mayonnaise? You know, I don't think I'm lying. You know, I don't think I'm lying. Am I lying? Is this dude laying on the ground like sucking on a mayonnaise jar, bro? Like, bro, I'm just being honest. Like, hey, man. I mean, I'm just asking a question, bro. Like, you know, I wish I had the, oh, here it is. Here it is. See, Cash be, I ain't want to just be capping. I ain't want to just be capping. Like, I'll be honest and saying, like, bro, our starting quarterback was doing the splits with mayonnaise. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's not what we need. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need some sauce. We need some swag.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
We need some style, man. We need some personality. Kyle, what up? Interested to see what Devin Neal does as running back 1 this week. What team is Devin Neal on? Like, I remember him getting drafted. I don't even remember where he's at. Oh, he's on the Saints. I didn't know the Saints got him.
Gina Costa, looking simply stunning. What's this? She's opening.
I didn't know the Saints got Devin Neal. I know Amarion Hampton is getting called back off of IR this week. So it was a lot of running backs in it. Dylan Sampson, Quinshon Judkins, both going to the Browns. RJ Harvey on the Broncos. Ashton Genty on the Raiders. I guess it's a lot of good backs that came out this year. I don't think this upcoming year is a great running back year. But I do think it's gonna be a lot of receivers that come out of this draft here. A lot of pass catchers is gonna be in this draft. Kyle, what's good? Devin Neal was the running back in Kansas. If you don't remember, Lady Devin Neal was that Kansas running back. All the college football video game players know like who the people that was crazy on the game, like Amarion Hampton, Devin Neal, Ollie Gordon, Ashton Genty. Some crazy running backs on the game. But if y'all got any questions, man, shoot. This is the time where I answer any questions y'all got. And I don't duck. And if anybody disagree with any of the stuff that I say, man, I hit this button right here. I hop in the cord and y'all can shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like I stand on business. Cause there was some people in Rich chat today that people think when they talking all caps that they're like, or you yell or you shout, it doesn't validate your point. Cause they was in Rich chat saying that Aaron Rodgers didn't want to play with George Pickens. Because I was saying that, you know, clearly that the Cowboys won that trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I just don't think the Loomis family, I mean, not the Loomis, but the Rooney family and Mike Tomlin would let a 42-year-old quarterback on a 1-year contract dictate their roster. I just don't think that they'll do it because by that logic, like they still drafted a quarterback. You think he would have been mad they threw a draft pick at a QB? And he already had Mason Rudolph. Like Aaron Rodgers don't dictate the Steelers. And look what he did it on the Jets. Like we are not comparing the Jets franchise to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers is a legacy franchise. Do you know what a legacy franchise is? Pittsburgh Steelers, 49ers, Green Bay Packers. They're legacy franchises in the NFL. And I'm sorry, but the Jets is at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the barrel. Just because Aaron Rodgers, a 40-year-old quarterback, can tell the Jets what to do, they're not telling the Steelers what to do. I just think the Steelers had ran into a whale of Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. What's the light-skinned receiver that they had? I always forget his name. That was on the Steelers before George Pickens. That didn't work out. I just think they had like a stretch where they had a bunch of skill players that they weren't able to get into their second contracts. So I don't think that Aaron Rodgers could tell them to sign DK Metcalf to a $150 million contract and trade George Pickens and lose value. I don't think that's an Aaron Rodgers thing in Pittsburgh. It could be on the Jets, but not in Pittsburgh. I want to ask you a question. Pull up the year won the Heisman compared to Bailey for Tech. Tell me it shouldn't be a conversation. It shouldn't be a conversation. Talking about no damn Texas Tech. Hey Jeff, like let me explain something to you. You at Texas A&M Aggie. You in the SEC. We not bantering for no other conferences. It's the Ohio State Conference and it's the SEC. Everything else we don't even talk about them, bro. They're not. We not even really concerned about them others. Them other. Why? Why we talking about Texas Tech player and talking about him in the Heisman conversation, man? We only here to talk about the Tide. We only here to talk about the SEC, the Alabama Conference. That's it. We talking about road to 19. That's it. We not wasting time talking about Texas Tech. You know what I'm saying? Last time we talked about Texas Tech, we weren't clamoring for Mahomes to get the Heisman while we talking about that. Shout out to my dog Lyle Young and Crabtree. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about them guys. We ain't talking about no linebacker from Texas Tech. He said, you mean the Alabama team that's not, bro, that's only if we lose to Auburn in the Iron Bowl. We ain't here to talk about that. We were talking about Tennessee Titans. We could go all day talking about SEC. The Steelers ain't consulting Rodgers on nothing. I'm saying, like, for the Pittsburgh Steelers to consider what a quarterback has to say about their roster would mean he'd be Big Ben. He'd be Ben Roethlisberger. That's who he'd be. You know what I'm saying? It'd be Terry Bradshaw. It could be one of them two guys. Like, somebody signing a 1-year deal don't dictate what the Steelers do long term. And we're not comparing the Steelers moves to the Jets. That just doesn't make sense. Because at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers hadn't done more with the Steelers than Russell Wilson and Justin Fields did last year. Aaron Rodgers hadn't done more with the Steelers than what Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph did with it. For one, he got to get to the playoffs. And then two, he's got to win a game. Something the Steelers hadn't done in the playoffs in a decade. So it's like, I'm just not hearing it. EP was good. Commanders down
Let me
bad.
teach you how to vibe.
Chris Davis down the sideline. Oh my God. Okay. Listen, man. Clap it up, man. Clap it up. Nano, what up? Any questions, man? Shoot. Shotbybuddha is an open book. If you disagree, indifferent, Discord open. I stand on my points. It's like, yeah, man, but the Rich Chat was saying, yeah, man, but the Jets is on paper was tough last year. Tough for what? It's the Jets, bro. Like, I'm the one that said the Green Bay Packers are gonna be better off for him and letting him and Tay go, and the Packers have been better since they let Aaron Rodgers go. Because what did they do? They put $80 million in their pocket, and they went and got they went and got all them tight ends and linemen and Christian Watson and all them players that they got. They got it from their money and them draft picks from Aaron Rodgers and Tay Adams. They said, yeah, we dying. Rebuilding, not disappointed to be in. I mean, y'all went to the conference championship. That's what I always say, EP. Like, for whatever people troll about, your team is only relevant if your team can't get to the conference championship. Winning the division, making the playoffs, playing 500 football means nothing. If your team can't get to the conference championship, that's an issue. That's your level of relevance. Because people always talk about, oh, well, the Tennessee Titans haven't won the Super Bowl. Tennessee Titans, when was they win the division? Like, who cares about who wins the AFC South? Like, did any of y'all care if the Jaguars or the Colts win the AFC South this year? Last year, the Texans won the AFC South. They've never been to an AFC championship game. The year before that, the Jaguars beat us and beat Josh Dobbs in the fumble not fumble game. But, I mean, who cares? Like, it's not about if you can win the AFC South. It's not about if the Patriots can win the NFC East. When the playoffs get here, can you beat Mahomes? Can you beat Lamar? Can you beat Josh Allen? So it doesn't matter what the Broncos do now. Don't matter what the Chargers do. Don't matter what the Steelers got going on right now. Don't matter what the Colts doing. Don't matter what the Jags doing. Don't matter what the Texans doing. Don't matter what the Patriots doing. If you get to the playoffs and them same teams get up there and put belt on y'all, it's all for nothing. Can you get to the conference championship game? And everything else is a failure. And God Parsons. You see what I'm saying? So, like, that's how the game should be viewed. So preseason, when I said there's the Eagles, there's the Rams, I trust the 49ers. Seahawks is a wild card. I don't trust the Cardinals. The North, I said the Bears would get better. I don't know about being a contender, but they get better. They have gotten better. They're top of the North. The Green Bay Packers are the definition of mid. They play down to competition, and then they play up. Play up, play down. Play up, play down. Aaron Glenn, will that bite them in the big games when it gets to the playoffs? Buccaneers can't stay healthy. Panthers can't take advantage of the Buccaneers not being healthy. The Atlanta Falcons are the Atlanta Falcons. They got Kirk Cousins back at the helm, and the Saints are the Saints. They fighting with us for number 1 pick. So guess what? Some kind of way, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the 55th straight year are going to win the NFC South because the Panthers don't want it. The Panthers don't want it. He said, which position group worries you every week with the Tennessee Titans? Offensively, they can't run the football. That worries me the most because Cam Ward has been able to throw on the best defenses in the NFL with me and you at receiver. Coming into a game where Van Jefferson and Mason Kinsey was the only active receivers and you give yourself a chance to win a game without a running game, we talking about 39 yards versus the Patriots. We talking about 70 yards versus the Chargers. We talking about 25 yards versus the Texans, and we talking about 27 yards versus the Seahawks. The Tennessee Titans can't run the ball. That worries me. So if I told you that a rookie quarterback had a non-existent run game where we're going like 2 years, like there's a chance the Tennessee Titans this season could go 17 games in an 18-week season and never outrush their opponent in any single game, home or away. That bothers me because when you think about rookie quarterbacks, you look at Cleveland, you got Quinshon Judkins, you got Sampson, 2 running backs I like coming out of college to run the football with Harold Fanning and Njoku. So 2 bookend tight ends, 2 good running backs. You know, this is like life after Chubb. When you look around at the Giants, as much as people like what Jackson Dart was doing, Scatterbo and Tyrone Tracy was running the football. You know, the Panthers turn around, Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard. Like, young quarterbacks need a team that can run the football. That's kind of what holds the Texans up. Joe Mixon been out all season. Nick Chubb got a little bit left, but Woody Marks has emerged. You know, life after Damian Pierce too. Woody Marks has emerged to give them something with a bad offensive line where the Texans can run it enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I look at the Titans, that group worries me the most, that you spent $8 million on Tony Pollard. You spent the top 100 pick on Tajay Spears. And then you got an undrafted free agent in Chestnut that plays special teams and running back and short yardage back. And then you 6th round pick, you took Khalil Mullins and you haven't even put him on the field to let him run the football. This week they was talking about him in special teams. I'm tired of hearing about special teams. Give this 6'2", 225-pound running back the football. So the fact that the Titans can't run the ball on nobody and they may go an entire season without being able to outgain their opponent rushing, that bothers me. So that on defense, Kentrell, cornerback, not nickelback, because Marcus Harris is now our best corner, outside cornerback. And the sad part about that is Rand's plan to fix that was $100 million on Snead and Chidobe Awuzie. But Snead is allegedly part of a drive-by shooting and injury issues. That's $76 million. And then Chidobe Awuzie got 3-year, $36 million. They cut him, and he's on the Ravens. So we paid $7.5 million, I think. And he's on the Ravens, starting playing good. Then you got Jarvis Brownlee and Roger McCreary, and you trade them both. So Tennessee Titans is down to cornerback 6 and 7, Amar Davis and Baker Jr. and Samuel Womack. Baker Jr. and Samuel Womack is guys that was on waivers from the Colts. Amar Davis, oddly enough, was on waivers from the Ravens, that they put him on waivers and cut him to sign Cheeto and Jair. So we have people's practice squad corners on the outside, and that is the spot that worries me. So on defense, position group is cornerback on the outside, and on offense is a run game. I'm a Niners fan. We are strictly winning because of coaching and CMC. Shanahan and Salah are a crazy duo. And the crazy part is with all the injuries is why I don't give people pass for injuries and talent, because their defense was still stopping the Rams with backups. Their offense was tongs at tight end with no George Kittle, and you traded Mason and you added Brian Robinson, and you got this guy out and this guy out, and you bring Kendrick Bourne in, and IU quits, and Pearsall gets shot and comes back and get injured, and it just doesn't matter for them if Purdy goes out or Mac Jones comes in and Mac Jones goes out and Purdy comes in and plays bad. The 49ers are going to run the ball, control the line of scrimmage, and play efficient football. Titans don't have that because they can't run the ball, so you can't play action. When you don't run the ball, defensive ends are just trying to kill the quarterback because they're not worried about the run game beating them. It stalls you out in the red zone. You can't run it on third and fourth and short. You know, the things that make the best teams in the league good is the Eagles tush push on anything in short is a first down. The Chiefs in their creativity and discipline in the short yardage situations with Worthy in motion and Travis Kelce in motion and Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco and Brashard Smith, like the way that they do their short game, they work the short game better than anybody. You think about the Bills with Cook and Josh Allen in under center twin tight ends. You look at the Rams in their motion under center with Puka Nacua in motion and Tay Adams on the outside with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. You know, like the good teams in the league work the short game. The Titans just don't have that. And so no play action, no run game. Your screen game is dog water. You know, Chimere Dike leads the NFL in all-purpose yards, and he's blocking for Tyler Lockett to run a screen pass. Like, it just let me know how out of touch the coaches have been all year. So that's my answer to the question of the position groups is run game on offense.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
You have 2 first-round picks and $150 million in offensive linemen. And you got an $8 million running back and a top 100 pick at running back, and you can't run the football. Cam Ward leads us in rushing every week. I think that's disappointing. Spending $100 million at veteran corners and now down to your 6th and 7th string cornerbacks. And today, Denard Wilson was saying that they was asking him about pulling Womack and pulling it. He's like, I just got to see what I got. It's like, because Big Jeff asked about how did they get JSN on Amani Hooker and Kevin Winston. And Denard said that the cornerbacks had busted coverage and one of the guys fell down. Is supposed to have been double teamed, but you leave Monty one-on-one with JSN, a safety on JSN, or you leave a rookie safety, Kevin Winston, having to come off of a route to pick up where a man fell down or just got shook out of shoes. JSN's skinny post in the back of the end zone, Womack fell down. You know, just go back and look at JSN's reps and you'll see cornerbacks falling on the ground. Like, you just can't have that. So maybe we get to see Michael Robinson. Green Bay Packers fans, we picked him up. He was on y'all originally in 53. He'd been playing good in special teams, which apparently is prerequisite to get on the field for the Tennessee Titans. You can't be good at corner or be good at receiver or be good at running back. You need to be a great special teams player to play for the Tennessee Titans, apparently. So I like to see Michael Robinson play corner instead of Samuel Womack. And maybe we might have some in Michael Robinson, like we found out in Marcus Harris. And we can get some young guys, because I just don't see Reek Woolen or Watson or Alante Taylor, any of the free agent cornerbacks wanting to come to Nashville. I just don't see it. I had JSN in fantasy. I knew it was going to be a feast. Yeah, I mean, I told people, if you got JSN, like, put him in the lineup, because I don't see a way where the Titans could stop him. And I said, if they're able to run on the edge, I knew they would run to the outside away from Sweat and Simmons, and they were able to, because Arden Key and Jahad Ward are pass guys. They like pass rush guys. Setting the edge when we had Femi and Draymond Jones, we had a better chance at setting the edge with those guys. But Femi's out and they traded Draymond. So, you know, they started running to the edge, and then the play action started buying time and they started sending motion, and JSN was getting free releases. And you can't take the best receiver in the NFL right now, like the hottest guy in the NFL, and just give him free releases to run through the secondary. Guys fall down when that happens. Should do it versus Cam in 2 weeks. I think the Browns are a better team than the Titans. I mean, Dan Moore couldn't block Myles Garrett when he was in Pittsburgh. He's definitely not going to be able to block Myles Garrett in Nashville. That's going to be that's gonna be more of a problem from us is stopping Judkins and Dylan Sampson, and Jerry Jeudy should have a day. If you put Samuel Womack or Darrell Baker Jr. or Armar Davis on Jerry, like Nico Collins had a day, JSN had a day, Cortland Sutton had a day. Whoever the best receiver for the other team matched up with our backup cornerbacks is having a day. Dan Moore did not get benched. He got injured ankle. Oli Udoh came in. Wasn't much better. Hopefully Dan Moore is healthy, or they're gonna I like to see Crenshaw Dixon. He didn't get benched, he got hurt. Dan Moore and Christenberry both got hurt. Dan Moore and Kush both got hurt. Yeah. So if you go to, all you gotta do is like daily, the ESPN updates it. Iomana is still questionable. Really, obviously IR, Levis IR, Bryce Oliver IR, Blake Hans IR. Questenberry has questionable. Dan Moore has questionable. Iomana has questionable, which means by Wednesday's report, we'll see if these, if they not on full, if they not on limited, at least limited practice by Wednesday, you know those guys gonna be out. So that would put Oli Udoh at left tackle and put Jackson Slater or probably Corey Levin will get run at center, but they got Jackson Slater at second string, so you might see Jackson Slater at center and you might see Oli Udoh at left tackle, but I like to see Crenshaw Dixon get some run at swing tackle. Just like Shaw Tuttle is questionable. Snead, obviously, still IR. Ali Gay IR. Orgy IR. Femi IR. Kendall Brooks had a concussion protocol. He's been headhunting at safety and in special teams. And then Xavier Woods is still questionable. So, you know, you look at the team. Defense getting healthier. But, I mean, still, when you look at the depth chart at corner, Darrell Baker, Armar Davis, Micah Robinson, Samuel Womack, like, yeah, we kind of in trouble because, like, I'm gonna say how in trouble we is. Watch this. Darrell Baker Jr. career no interceptions. Hold up. Career no interceptions, right? Let's go to Samuel Womack. Career 3 interceptions, right? 3 interceptions in his career. Armar Davis, career, roll tide, no interceptions. You go to no. You go to Marcus Harris, who is our best corner right now. I would say no career interceptions. He almost had one Sunday against Sam Darnold. And Micah Robinson that we got from the Packers, career no interceptions. You know, like, bro, we're talking about having an entire secondary at corners that combined between 6 guys has 3 interceptions, and one that's on one person. That's on Samuel Womack. Fell asleep in the game a little bit. It'll be Shador versus Cam if Stefanski lets Shador keep his job until the end. Won't be surprised if they go back to Gabriel after the 49ers game and Shador doesn't perform again solid this week. But how dumb is that though? Like, I'm gonna give a guy 1 week of practice and I'm gonna play the 49ers, and if he don't ball against the Niners, then I'm going back to Dylan Gabriel for what? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. I just think when you see Myles Garrett and the rest of the team, how they responded to Shador being on the field, that should tell you everything you need to know. Like, your locker room is everything. I think Stefanski could get fired and lose the locker room by going back to Gabriel. And because they didn't play Shador out the gate, and it's like it's not the same build up Cam versus Shador. I think it'd be a great moment for them to their journeys and how tough it is and where they could be in the future. Like, let's say the next 2 years of if Shador is the QB and Cam Ward stay healthy, like what they could look like next year or the year after. It could really be something, but as of right now, like it's nothing to, it'd be a good jersey swap moment for them too. Cause I like the fact that they ain't taking shots at each other. They still boys, regardless of the situation that's gonna happen. That they still happy for each other. The media always tried to pit them two against each other, and they never was really going. It's dumb, but somebody has the answer for the Dylan Gabriel pick. But I said yesterday that who can explain that despite out of spite they burned a top 100 pick. And if you petty like me, you go back and look and see who was drafted between the slot that Dylan Gabriel got drafted all the way down to their next draft pick and say all those players that was on the board could have been yours. From everything there and down could have been yours if you didn't burn the top 100, because that's part of the rebuild for the Tennessee Titans. Is Mike Bergonzi wants 10 to 12 top 100 picks the first 3 years. So when you think about just taking one of those and burning them, considering last year the Titans traded the pick at the top of the second round and drafted Femi and Kevin Winston. So you drafted 2 starters. You're starting free safety and you're starting left edge. Is who you drafted with those 2 picks. So imagine the Tennessee Titans burning the pick they got Kevin Winston Jr. or Chimere Dike. Take Kevin Winston Jr. or Chimere Dike off because out of spite. You know what I'm saying? Like that was out of spite. I feel like the 2 teams that really passed on Shador in my mind was the Browns and the Saints. So if you're the Browns and you didn't burn the Gabriel pick, you get a 3rd rounder back. If you the Saints and Tyler Shuck is older than Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner. He's already at the point that all the rookie quarterbacks now will be on their 2nd deal if they was his age. He has a less time window to turn on because he's supposed to be the most NFL ready quarterback. If he doesn't work, you're going to be burned a 2nd round pick. Kind of similar to how we did Will Levis, is you drafting somebody who, but I got to give Tyler Shuck his, I got to give him a whole year. I trust Kellen more than I do Stefanski. Just because, Stefanski been coach of the year, but just the way they going about it in Cleveland, like I trust the Saints organization more than the damn Browns. But I do think I think that, but see, I always said that it was unfair to Dylan Gabriel, the way they did it. And then it was unfair to, and now that the team has chosen that their energy says that they want Shador as starting quarterback, it's bad for Dylan Gabriel because, like, Dylan Gabriel probably don't, like, does he even get a shot or picked up somewhere else after this? You know what I'm saying? Like, ever even get a shot, to be given an opportunity to win a starting job again, after this, like, meltdown of a situation. You kind of look at how it's been for Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett had it happen in Pittsburgh and get sent to Philadelphia, and then from Philadelphia to the Browns, from the Browns to the Raiders. And, like, odds is the Raiders draft a quarterback and move Geno to a secondary role in this upcoming season, and Kenny Pickett just gets washed out again. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happened when, things like that happen. Nah, but that's why I said that was a spiteful pick. Like, that was a pick out of spite. That was, we gonna show you we really wanted him, but we ain't gonna pick him because, for whatever reasons, these teams decided that they was gonna, go that direction. And the funny part is, even now, you still got people that's like, well, so many teams passed on him. Like, okay, hey, obviously some teams have hurt themselves by not taking the better situation. They've actually in effect burned a pick. So if you go down here to get this off my screen. So if you go down here to where Dylan Gabriel is at, you saying from here, let's just go in between Dylan Gabriel and the next Browns pick, Xavier Watts. Ty Felton, Chimere Dike, Basil Tootin, Cam Scatterbo, Deontay Thornton, Jack Kaiser, Woody Marks, Hunter Bowman, Gunnar Helm, Jack Sawyer, Baron Sorrow, Kyle Kennard, all the way down here before Dylan Sampson. And just say all those people I just named is people that you potentially could have burned in between that pick. The Raiders should have took strong safety. This Geno Pete Carroll duo is a dumpster fire. Because I go through and look at some of these teams' rosters. That's part of the thing that, you know, I look at the free agent list that's upcoming. I look at rosters. I look at practice squads. I look at how teams try to construct their rosters. And like, if they didn't burn the Dylan Gabriel pick, I just named some of the players that they could have gotten in that stretch. Getting Mason Graham, Quinshon Judkins, Harold Fannin, Dylan Sampson, Shadur, and the Jaguars' first round pick next year as well as theirs. Like, Browns could be playing real cleanup game because Nick Chubb came off their books last year and they got Myles Garrett under contract. Like, they're a team that, you know, if you didn't have 8 quarterbacks under retainer, like, they legitimately could have been you could have argued about their offseason, how well it set them up for the future. He said SS is should do it. Oh, I thought that they was gonna take it. And hey, look, Kentrell, you know, just out of me and my crystal ball, just, you know, like, I got the crystal ball. I'll be looking in the future at times, and dun, 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 dun. That was one of my first I got to thinking this year was the Raiders having a chance to get Shadur Sanders and going with Geno Smith, and people just gave me hell about it. That was one of my I got the thinkings was Shadur and Geno, saying should they have taken Shadur instead of Geno. Geno's at the top of the league in turnovers at quarterback, and they're like, hell no, we don't want Shadur Sanders. We don't like him. It's like, all right, you got Aiden O'Connell and Kenny Pickett over there. Good luck with that. You know, like, gave Geno Smith 2 years, $77 million. Shout out to him and his family for getting paid. But, you know, it's like, they should have drafted Shadur. He said Rick Fox is running for legislation in the Bay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Top shotter, what up? He said, what I think about Sanders. Real one, no Sanders is a ball. It's just politics. I mean, it's like so many teams. The Vikings. I told y'all I thought the Vikings was dumb for having Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, and J.J. McCarthy. Y'all remember when it was people that argue with me saying that J.J. McCarthy would have been the top quarterback coming out of this draft class, and he would have got 2 first-round picks if somebody wanted to trade for him? Like, bro, you can't be serious. Hey, J.J. McCarthy is dog water. You know, it's like, and, you know, all these teams, even now, if you're the Cardinals and you want to reset, you better serve doing what the Cowboys did and getting Joe Milton and get Shador. Because Joe Milton was the 5th round pick. That's got talent. The Raiders, the Jets, because they made a mistake. Raiders and Jets got the bridge quarterback but didn't draft. Seahawks got Sam Darnold and took Milroe. Steelers got Aaron Rodgers and drafted Will Howard. Colts had Anthony Richardson, brought in Daniel Jones and drafted Riley Leonard. 49ers paid Brock Purdy, brought in Mac Jones and drafted Rourke. Like, you still got to continue to draft guys that could potentially be your guy in the future. Just because you bring in a bridge don't mean that you don't bring in another guy that could be the guy. And it's so many teams that could reset easier by having a Shador Sanders, but none of them want to be wrong. It's like the Tennessee Titans didn't want to be wrong about Restrepo. They didn't want to be. They now don't want to be wrong about Khalil Mullins. So he's got to show y'all how good he is on special teams before you let him run 3rd and 1 at 6'2", 225. It's the same. You know, you got to wait half the season to get Kevin Winston. Like, nobody wants to say moving J.C. Latham from left tackle to right tackle and giving Dan Moore $82 million was a mistake. It was. You know, all these different situations is like, you know, this is their chance to get out of it. Titans can get out from up under Calvin Ridley. They can get out from up under L'Jarius Sneed. This offseason, they can find a way to get out of any bad contracts that's left. Which the only bad contracts that's left is because Tony Pollard's easy to get out of, is probably Dan Moore and Cush. That's it. Everything else they can get out of. Monty haven't had a good season, but I think it's more to do with the team than just Monty. I think Monty will bounce back. But that's how I feel about these teams. Like, because y'all know how I felt about Shador. I thought that this draft class, top to bottom, was going to be better than the upcoming class. And people argue with me because I was like, if you're a bad team and you're looking for identity and you could get Cam Ward or Shador, and then the athletic guys behind him that you could take a shot at is Jackson Dart and Milroe. And then behind that, you got Quinn Ewers, who I said, Arch Manning, who y'all want to wait on, may not ever have the career at Texas that Quinn Ewers had. Cade Klubnik, Lenora Sellers is not going to have the career that Jalen Milroe had. You have Carson Beck. And all these players that people are so high on. And Drew Aller in this draft class that people are so high on. Like, bro. In the classes before them, with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Joe Milton. And this class this year, I just feel like it's better class. I feel like, you know, Will Howard get his shot. I feel like he's gonna be solid. Might not be the greatest, but I feel like he's gonna be a solid. He could be a solid QB. You know, like some of these teams, like, they're better off going this route. Teams just stick themselves in the mode of trying to like put duct tape on the boat with some veteran. You see how the Falcons wind up doing. Your $180 million of Kirk Cousins, then Penix get hurt. You got Cousins back out there. You're not going to make the playoffs. You're not going to win enough games, and you're not going to get a great draft pick because of it. And you burn your draft pick last year to get James Pierce Jr. trying to go all in. And guess what? The Rams got the Falcons draft pick, this upcoming draft pick, plus they own. And Michael Penix might not be healthy to start next season. You don't want Kirk Cousins still there sucking up money. You want to try to move him and get off of him. But in the meantime, between time, you're wasting Bijan Robinson, and you might wind up with Kyle Pitts being on some other team next year. That's what happens when teams make those mistakes. So I just hope, forget the rest of the teams. I just hope the Tennessee Titans do what's right, trade back, get some draft capital, do right in the free agency, which I've already gave y'all my blueprint on how I think they should go about free agency. It's not what people want. It's not what people think, but it's the best situation for the Tennessee Titans, which is retain, develop, develop. Any guys they take a shot at, if you're going to take a shot at spending some money, you burn money on defense, not on offense. Then the Titans got any spots that they want to burn free agent money at, you extend Scoro and Jeff. You make up your mind of what you're going to do with Chig. Tony Pollard's gone. Ridley's gone. If you want to bring Jefferson and Prochet back for wide receiver 6 and 7, cool. But it's DK, Aomana, and Strep. And then I go into the draft and get 2 guys. If I want to bring a free agent into the Tennessee Titans, a Tyquan Thornton, somebody like that, Daubs will be on the market, but Titans don't need to spend $1 gazillion on somebody. They need to get a mid-level effective person, not somebody who is going to be a worry. Like George Pickens is not coming to Nashville. Hang it up. You don't want Brandon Ayuk. Look on defense. Reek Willen is not going to want to come here. Alontae Taylor, Jalen Phillips, Kayvon Thibodeau, Adafiowe, like guys that you would want to go after. Better off bringing Jahad Ward and Arden Key back and going into the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like Sebastian Joseph Day, Xavier Woods got 1 more year left. Put the other young guys in at safety. And if you want to throw some money, maybe a Josh Williams or some more corners, and the guys that start now, put them on the practice squad to have depth. You got to build through the draft. Tennessee Titans, I just don't see any players that could come in and really help them that ain't old or so young going into their second contract that they want to play on a better team, because a few extra $1 million ain't going to stop Reek from playing on the Eagles instead of the Titans. Same with Jalen Phillips. It's not going to stop Kayvon Thibodeau on wanting to go play on the Ravens or somewhere instead of Nashville. Speculations, I think it's only a matter of time before we hear about Jay Jettis' trade request. Now, I had thrown this out in the Titans group chat just having fun the other day, and somebody made a post with it, but it was, if the Titans trade back and get multiple firsts, would the Titans give up one of their firsts to get Jay Jettis? It's a long shot. But I mean, Jay Jettis was in the Under Armour commercial with Cam Ward in the offseason. I do think Jay Jettis is going to want out. But I think it's a better chance that like the Buffalo Bills or somebody take a run at him before us. Is he going to want to play on with a great QB? Cam Ward will be a great QB. You know what I'm saying? And he's on his way to showing what he can do, but Jay Jettis is in his prime of wanting to win now. And if you're the Titans and you want to rebuild, I don't know if giving up so much capital would make sense. Because they wasn't able to get T. Higgins even with the connection with Brian Callahan. So I don't think a George Pickens or a Jay Jettis want to come to Nashville. It's a small market for them. They want to be in like New York or LA or somewhere like that. I think they want to be on a big market team. It said, can you pay the contract? Tennessee Titans going to have $100 and some million in free cap space. Like they can pay whatever contract they want. Question is like, do you stick yourself in that mode again? They Calvin really do $28 million this upcoming season. Yeah, Jags. We don't care about the Jaguars. We don't. We don't care about y'all. What up, though? What's good, my boy? We can pay whatever contract. The thing is, no good free agent is gonna. Tariq Woolen, Alontae Taylor, Jalen Phillips, Kayvon Thibodeau, George Pickens. None of them dudes is gonna want to come to the Titans, bro. They just not. Would you? Like, I'm a Titan fan, and if I was one of them free agents, I'm not going to the Titans. You ain't had to say nothing. You showed up. I read your name, and I just thought about it. I was like, it's Jaguars hate week. It's Jaguars hate week. Even though y'all finna put the belt on us, y'all just punished. Y'all just put some punishment, and y'all could be back at the top of the division if y'all beat us. So, and the Colts lose. Y'all beat us, Colts lose. Y'all back at the top. So, yeah, it's a big game for y'all. I just don't think we'll be able to score enough points to beat anybody, bro. Really, Titans got to play a perfect football game to win. Almost got our coach again. Yeah. But I like y'all coach better than the coach we just fired and the one that is interim now. Yeah, I mean, Jeff, we still don't like the Jags. We still don't like the Colts. We still like the Texans. We just not good. So, like, you know, normally you go by that house and that dog is barking. We just not barking right now. Like, we just sitting on the porch. We might growl a little bit, but we know we ain't got the energy to get up and chase nobody down the street. You know what I'm saying? So we just gonna sit on the porch and growl a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, ears might perk up. We ain't making no noise. We ain't kicking up no dust. We don't like nobody in the AFC South, but we respect what's going on right now. The Colts and the Jaguars fighting it out. Texans is too late, too little, too late. Because I think C.J. Stroud gonna come back and be a little rusty and look like Brock Purdy. You see the 49ers this week, they brought Brock Purdy back instead of Mac Jones and almost choked the game away. Texans can't afford that. As good as Davis Mills been playing, C.J. Stroud come back and play like Brock Purdy, they gonna lose. Team up with the Texans. Nah, we don't like the Texans either. The Texans are not good. Bro, preseason when y'all saying the Texans gonna run away with the division, I said, Texans ain't really that much better than the Colts, Titans, and Jags. And they was like, no, I said, man, Texans ain't got no offensive line. We got to see what they going to do if they can protect C.J. Stroud. They've already gotten him killed. You know what I'm saying? So it's only a matter of time before Davis Mills turn back to Davis Mills or they put C.J. Stroud back in and he rusty. One of the two going to happen. Now, we not a little chihuahua. We like a chow or a Doberman Pinscher or something. We just on the, like, we just tired. It's a summer day. It's too hot for us to be up barking and running around. So, like, we see the Jags, Colts, or the Texans. We not going to get up and really chase, but we just, till you walk past our yard. Like, I will bite you, but, like, it's not going to do me no good to bite you right now. I'm trying to conserve my energy. Like, that's the type of dog the Titans is right now. When we see the Colts, Texans, or Jags, like, realistically, beating the Jaguars hurts us. Like, we need to lose games. We need the Browns and the Saints and the Jets to win one or two more games. Then we need to beat the Browns and the Saints and still get the first. Lose to the Jags at the end of the year, tank, but let Cam Ward play the halftime and take everybody out. Put in Brandon Allen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how we should go about it. Realistically, man, we should go about it like that. Like, that would be great. Browns win 4 games, Titans win 3, Saints win 3, but lose the tiebreaker. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need something like that. Cause I think Jameis Winston might have 1 or 2 more games in him. So Titans need to lock up their number 1 draft pick. Cause we play the Chiefs and the Jaguars twice. So that's 3 more losses. We 1-10. That's 1-13. 1-13. That's 14 games. Got 3 left. So, like, we win 2, lose 2. Titans go 3-14 again and get it on 1 pick. Ken Ward throws for like 34, 3,500 yards, more touchdowns than picks. You know what I'm saying? He said, if I'm going free agent, I'm going elite teams only with a star QB. I think the Titans are the least used team in Madden 2. I like rebuilding the franchise with them. Yeah, I mean, it's just safe to say that, like, Titan fans are a little delusional on free agent players. Like if we do get a big name free agent, like they're fighting a gun case or they got an injury. So instead of doing that, the Titans need to get into building a free agency the way I would build a free agency, which just basically means like, Zietler is gone, Chig is gone, Brandon Allen is gone, Tony Pollard is gone, Mason Kinsey out, Julius Chestnut out. You know, it's like if they smart, if the Titans is smart, you know, if the Titans is smart, they do something like this. Because of course, Ridley is out of there. If the Titans is smart, they do something like this. See, James Prochet is almost 30. I like him, but Prochet is almost 30. Like you're not getting George Pickens, but you can get a Tyquan Thornton for about $4-5 million a year and throw him into the rotation to where wide receiver 4 is stripped. You know, you could do something like that and then go and draft 2 guys, draft a receiver in the second round and draft another receiver in the late rounds like Nick Anderson or Barry and Brown, one of those guys. But you know, put one of the top receivers bottom end of the first, top of the second or third. Put a Nick Harbor or a Chris Brazil, Jeremy Bernard, Jacoby Lane, Nick. You know, like put one of those guys, Chris Bell. Like put somebody like that in this mix with that. That don't cost you no money. You know what I'm saying? They've been talking about Breece Hall. Breece Hall and K9 gonna be one that Tony Pollard type of money, and I think that has already proved it's not right. I think you put Mullen, Spears, and you go to the draft in the later rounds and try to add something. If you're not able to get, if your trade back puts you out of the Jeremiah Love sweepstakes, you know, you might want to go Nick Singleton or Raleek Brown or one of those, what's the little dude from Washington, dude from UTSA. You know, you might want to go to the draft in the running game. I don't know if you spend $8-10 million on Breece Hall or K9. I just don't know. You know, they say Russ Spot as a fan when you want 2 picks back. I mean, that's a realistic trade back. If the Tennessee Titans got the number 1 pick, like getting 2 firsts should be the bare minimum. I would love to debate any of y'all that think that the Tennessee Titans won't get multiple firsts for the number 1 pick. I mean, we watched the Browns get for the number 2 pick in Travis Hunter, they got multiple firsts. So I just don't see how the number 1 pick is not going to get what the Bears got, you know, 3 years ago, but, you know, anywhere in the realm of even what the Tennessee Titans got when they traded with the Rams in 16, when the Rams traded up to get Goff, and we had 2 firsts in multiple 2nd through 4th round picks. I just don't see how people think the number 1 pick ain't gonna get multiple firsts. I mean, they just traded Sauce Gardner for multiple, so like I don't see how we wouldn't get for the number 1 overall pick. I mean, I ain't saying Khalil Mack 3 first rounds, but sheesh. You know, the Trey Lance trade what did the Niners give up for Trey Lance trade? Like, and it's probably like 5 teams with 2 first-round picks this year. Then when you look at Titans defense, you know, Mike Brown, Jared Reed, Kendall Brooks, Xavier Woods still has a year left, but if I can get off of him and go with the young guys, I will. Arden Key is a guy I think they should bring back on a team friendly deal because Femi will be healthy to start next season. Jalen Harrell, I think is cooked. Truman Jones, I think is cooked. Darrell Baker cooked. Samuel Womack cooked. Amar Davis cooked. I want to see Michael Robinson get a shot at outside corner. Shy Tuttle. I think you bring back Sebastian Joseph Day. And when you trade back, if you're in the top 5, when you trade back like the Browns was this year, you go Arvell Reese or Reuben Payne. You know, if you go top 5 to 15, you got to be thinking about that first round pick being one of those receivers, Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Jeremiah Love. You got to be thinking in that realm because it'll be other edge rushers in the draft and free agency that you could get. But I think if you at least come at this and then in free agent, I don't think you get a Tariq Woolen. I don't think you get Alontae Taylor. I don't think you get Jalen Watson. But I do think you could get something like this. I think you could get a Josh Williams. I think you could say between Micah Robinson, Amar Davis, and Baker Jr., whoever the best 2 of those is your last cornerback and your practice squad guys. I think you got to draft 2 guys, like one second or third, and then another guy 4th or 5th, kind of like they did Marcus Harris. I just don't see any of the big name corners in free agency coming to Nashville. I just don't see it. You know, I would have loved to say the Titans is going to do something like this. Put Kayvon Thibodeau. I would love to see Jalen Phillips play this spot and still draft. You could wait later. TJ Parker, Zion Young, you could go in that room. But, I mean, reality, Tennessee Titans is they're not going to be able to go in free agency and do nothing like this. You know, like that's unrealistic. That's unrealistic. Even with the most cap space, they're not going to be able to go throw money at these guys not coming here. So when you look at the defense needs less work than offense. You really got to get 2 corners in the draft, and you want to get 2 in free agency to come back. And then Baker Jr., Amar Davis, and Micah, I think you want to move them guys to practice squad and let them fight for spots. Ain't nobody picking them up. I don't think so. I think those are guys that are safe. But that's how I would go about building my team if I was the Titans. You know, hindsight 2020, you would have never did this. You would have had Oli Udoh right here, and you would have saved $82 million. Then you would have been trying to think of a way to move Kush and draft interior and tackles in this draft. That right there would have saved you, you know, almost $40 million next season. But you know, if you can get Chig back. If you can get Chig back on a team-friendly deal where you don't have to worry about your tight end room at all, and because Oli Udoh right now is playing left tackle if Dan Moore is still out with an ankle injury, but yeah, that's where the Titans got to look to. That's where the Titans got to look to grow as a team in free agency. Because, like, you're not, like, you know, people would love to see this, but, bro, you're not getting this. That's just too much to ask for. You know what I'm saying? Like, as much as people think, like we're not a destination where you could do this. You can't put George Pickens and Breece Hall on offense. Like that's not realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like they gotta want to come here. So for now, if the Tennessee Titans, I'm saying this, and I'm going to the draft. You know what I'm saying? I take a Tyquan Thornton or I take a Van Jefferson, and I put him at the 5th, 6th receiver, and I run like this. But they gotta put Khalil Mullins in and see what they got. Did they got in between the tackles running back and Khalil Mullins before you go spend $10 million on K9 or Breece Hall? You got to see what you got in this young guy, and just draft and build around Cam. But like this would be more effective if they could run the football. If these two guys could give you 100 yards a game combined, then you got something. But Tony Pollard is cooked right now, and I don't see any future running the football for the Titans this year. They just in a conundrum. But where is this thought that y'all have that the Titans are not getting multiple firsts for this number 1 pick? I just need to see this. I need to see this and I need to hear this. Shop is open. I'm ready to die on the hill, which I feel like I'll live forever in this debate. But now we not gonna get this. We're not gonna get DJ Moore, a 1st round pick that was used on Darnell Wright. A D tackle right here at 61. Caleb Williams right here with this pick. Luther Burden with that pick. We not getting all that for the number 1. Nobody's asking for that. But we just go back over recent trades. Will Anderson, Jackson Dart. It's been a lot of people trading in the 1st round. Browns last year with Travis Hunter. It's a lot of people trading in their top 5 that's giving up multiples. I don't know where y'all getting that from. They probably come from the same people that say that the 1st overall pick that the Titans shouldn't be able to. It should go to a lottery like the NBA so it can be rigged. No. That's been it, man. It's 2 hours and 18 minutes on Shot Talk on Facebook and YouTube. I'm gonna continue the late night stream on Kick and Twitch. Shotbybuddha on Kick. Shotbybuddha FB on Twitch. Picture in picture. Watch on Kick. There's no ads. Up to 50 emotes you can use in the stream for free. All you gotta do is be a follower. Tap in over there, man. Y'all trying to catch a late night stream where we watch podcasts, watch game film, listen to music, play the game, and clap cheeks like we did last night. So tap in with us. Appreciate y'all, man. God first in the chat. Stay tapped in with all the social media platforms. I engage back on all my content. Tap in with us, man. God first in the chat, man. We catch y'all later. 1 minute reset and we live on Kick and Twitch. 1 minute reset and we live on Kick and Twitch. If you missed it, it'll be on YouTube tomorrow.